Today we will talk about Enigma. Enigma was used in World War II by the Germans, but was invented before the war started and was thought to be unbreakable with roughly 15 million combinations of setups. Enigma was a unique cipher as it would not generate repeated letters in the cipher text when the input contained a repeated letter. Here's an example. An ordinary cipher, when a word like banana would be inputted, would generate ciphertext such as C, B, O, B, O, B. Notice how the repeated letters in the plain text are also repeated in the ciphertext. This would often make these ciphers very easy to break. Enigma, when the same word is inputted, would generate ciphertext such as A, D, O, G, C, W. Here, the repeated characters are not the same in ciphertext. This is because of the Enigma machine. An operator would type the plain text into the machine one letter at a time, and a bulb would flash generating a ciphertext letter. At its core, each bulb, when it flashes, is just a simple circuit. However, the machine has moving parts in 3 rotors which spin like so. Every time a letter is typed, the right-hand rotor spins by 1 slot, and every cycle of the alphabet on the rightmost rotor, the middle rotor spins by 1 also, like a second, minute, and hour hand of a clock. Likewise, the final rotor will spin every time the middle rotor has gone through a cycle. This causes the path of the circuit to change as it travels through the 3 rotors. It is then reflected at the end and travels through the rotors once again and maps onto another letter, which then lights up on the machine. This makes the Enigma machine extremely complicated. However, it was further developed in the war as they added a plug board at the bottom which would have a maximum of 6 plugs at a time. The plugs would connect 2 letters and essentially switch the pathways, making the code even tougher. Once the ciphertext had been generated, it would be transmitted to another location, which could be easily intercepted by the enemy, but the code was so tough that the information in the transmission was safe. The operator at the other end must now decrypt the mess of characters. To do this, you must have another Enigma machine. However, the enemy would easily steal the machine, so surely that makes this code unusable, right? Wrong. Every month, a large sheet of paper would be sent out to all operators containing a list of all information about the starting setup of the Enigma machine for every day of that month. Furthermore, this paper would be written in soluble ink, making it extremely difficult to steal, and when it was stolen, it was easy enough for operations to be stopped until another instruction list was sent, giving the enemy access to very few of the messages. An operator would apply the settings at the start of every day, including which 3 of the 5 possible rotors to put in which order, and which plugs to be put in where. And it wasn't required that all plugs were put in. However, as complicated as Enigma might seem, the ciphertext letters were simply typed back into an Enigma machine and a banana would be returned. This works because the letters follow the same rotor path and reflect back and are mapped onto the correct letter that was inputted before. In actual fact, an operator would send the configuration for the actual message he was about to send in Enigma using the written settings of that day, telling the operator at the other end what to then configure his machine to as a further complication of the message. The Enigma code was eventually broken by Alan Turing at Bletchley Park, using a machine that he had built that could work out the starting setup of the machine each day. However, he also eventually needed to realize that the Germans would consistently use 3 words in their transmissions every morning in a weather report, and these words were weather forecast, Heil, and Hitler, which would allow the machine to use these known words to shorten the time taken to figure out the position of the machine.
Well, that's it. Exactly. They send a weather report every day at 6 a.m. So that's 3 words we know will be in every 6 a.m. message. Weather, obviously, and...
Heil bloody Hitler.
Heil bloody Hitler.